A special extra educational episode of Banana Slug News. I'm Lily Begler.
And I'm Jake Regal. If you're in the mood to learn a lesson or two, you've tuned into the right channel.
Lesson number 1. BSN is your number 1 source for lessons.
And fun. Don't forget fun.
Here at BSN, we never forget fun. That's lesson number 2. We employ all kinds of reporters here at BSN. That's lesson number 3.
Just because they're different doesn't mean they're not as good.
Racism is wrong. Lesson number 4. Recently, in Stanford's Lucile Packard Children's Hospital, an operation was performed that successfully saved the life of a baby delivered over 13 weeks early. Dr. V. Mohan Reddy was the man who successfully performed open-heart surgery on the newborn.
I just don't have the skills to give a child with a heart the size of a grape open-heart surgery. But if I did, it would be one heck of a lesson number 5.
Lesson number 5. Only I have the lesson book. You're not allowed to make up lessons left and right.
I apologize then.
As well you should. If you have noticed the nice winter weather here in Santa Cruz, maybe you would be interested in knowing more about what may be causing such a warm climate change. Global warming has been a central concern among scientists, and actions to stop the cause of the greenhouse effect are being initiated. With more on this story, here is Amber Pittenger.
Growing concern regarding global warming and its adverse effects on the Earth's climate and atmosphere has led the United Nations to finally enforce the Kyoto Protocol.
What does CO2 in the atmosphere do then? Well, what it does is it causes an insulating effect in the atmosphere. It's a transparent blanket, if you will, and so it causes the atmosphere to warm. And a warm atmosphere is what kicks off all of the things that we know of as weather.
A change in rainfall pattern could prove devastating for plants, animals, and humans. Also, climate change means that places all over the world would experience more extreme weather.
The industries that emit the most CO2 include power production, for electricity for domestic use, as well as tailpipe emissions from our cars and trucks and buses and so on, and from cement manufacturing.
As of February 16, 2005, the Kyoto Protocol has been put in force in over 120 countries. The goal of this agreement is to lower overall CO2 emissions by 5% by the year 2012. The only advanced industrial country to not partake in this agreement is the United States. In 2001, under the Bush administration, the United States was withdrawn from the Kyoto Protocol, stating that there is not enough scientific information surrounding climate change and that it would be too strenuous on the United States economy.
So how do I feel about the U.S., and in particular George Bush, pulling out of the Kyoto Protocol? I think it was morally reprehensible. As the country that generates 75% of the world's emissions, I think that it is our responsibility to do something about it.
Combating global warming will be difficult, but to do nothing at all means jeopardizing Earth and life for future generations. It is likely that if the United States does not do anything to curb its CO2 emissions, global warming will persist. Will the Kyoto Protocol be effective? Will the United States step up and take part in this agreement? Time will tell. As for now, Santa Cruz, stay cool. I'm Amber Pittenger, now back to you in the studio.
That's one hot story, Amber.
I'm starting to warm up to Amber's reporting style.
If her ability to report were to be one of the 5 elements of Chinese philosophy, it would be fire.
Good one. This year's NHL season has been canceled, as team owners and players could not come up with an agreement over a highly debated salary cap. The news of the season's cancellation was broken by NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman. This could spell the end of the careers of such popular players as Mark Messier and Chris Chelios.
Lesson number 6. Bring back the Winnipeg Jets.
That's not a very good lesson.
You're not a very good lesson.
Touché. Hockey is important, to be sure, but Wildcats are where it's at. Leopards Etc. brought their Wildcat show to Santa Cruz last weekend, and Kane Lynch was there. Kane, show us your claws.
I'm here at the Loudon Nelson Center on Center Street in downtown Santa Cruz, where Rob and Barbara Dicely brought their Leopards Etc. exhibit for local families.
It was my wife that got us started in the Wildcats. She volunteered for years on a preserve and got her licensing, and began working with the cats. And we started developing the number of cats that we got and turned it into an education program slowly, got out of our other lines of work, and we're doing this full time. Santa Cruz has one of the best participation of anywhere in the Bay Area. We've never been able to have these many people come, and they're unbelievable wanting to learn about these cats, so it's really great to be here.
Many people consider the snow leopard coat the most beautiful. Remember that tall, skinny cheetah? Look at this cat. Very stocky, muscular body, little short bowed legs, huge snowshoe paws. All around the world, this cat is a symbol for grace and beauty and speed. And when these children are grown up, they will see cheetahs in a book or on a computer, but they will not see a cheetah left in the wild.
We tried to come down, I think it was for the environmental club on the campus, and we ran into all sorts of resistance from risk management, and that's one of our biggest problems we're running into now. People are so concerned about liability. They wanted me to attach my cats to the floor with a chain permanently, and I said that that was ridiculous.
What was your favorite cat?
The mountain lion. I liked how the mountain lion, well, it wasn't the mountain lion, it was the one that went upside down on that stick. Yeah, that was funny.
We feel it's our responsibility to do everything in our power to make these diplomats have the best life that they can while they're out there campaigning for the rest of the ones that are still left in the wild.
Now, I do happen to love these animals very much, but I never forget our relationship, and here's how it works. I love them, they use me.
My wife is a pessimist, I'm the optimist. I continually think that it's going to work out. My other feeling is that if you don't do anything, then that's the wrong thing.
And as Rob and Barbara leave Santa Cruz, their mission continues to entertain, teach, and hopefully save the endangered cats. This is Kane Lynch. Back to you in the studio.
Perfect, Kane.
Those felines sure are fabulous.
If they weren't, it would be a catastrophe.
Indeed. Speaking of animals, humans are an animal. Scientists recently dated a group of human fossils found in Ethiopia to be 195,000 years old. This makes them the earliest evidence of the existence of Homo sapiens.
Those remains must be getting pretty icky.
Human remains don't age like wine. That's lesson number 7. Lesson number 8 is don't drink unless you're 21.
Unless you're accompanied by an adult, or 3 or more other minors.
Incorrect. You're an idiot.
Is that lesson number 9?
No. UCSC has been eliminating some majors and minors in light of more science-oriented classes. What do students at UCSC think about this? Here with the story is Katie Ryan.
The Santa Cruz Sentinel recently reported that along with communications and journalism, languages such as Arabic and Hindi are next to be cut here at UCSC. The students and faculty let their voices be heard at a protest rally on February 16th.
Many students are questioning why the university gives the language department annual funding of only $345,000 a year, even though departments such as Earth Sciences are receiving up to $2.2 million a year.
I hope that the administration will see that it's not a small minority of students that actually wants to learn these. I think that a university is a place of freedom of education, and any student, not just the ones taking them now, should have the opportunity to study whatever they want, and that includes languages.
We are faced with the need to meet enormous budgetary shortfalls associated with the language program. There are other options, like finding the money, which we don't have. And if somebody else can find it or come up with it, that would be obviously very helpful. Building and construction budgets are completely different from the academic budgets. Those are decisions made at the office of the president and indeed in some cases at the legislature. And when they designate funds and say this money is for building, we can't turn around and say, oh, Well, we'll just take half of that and run an academic program. We can't do it that way.
With the tremendous budget cuts that UCSC has been faced with, it is important to remember that languages such as Arabic and Hindi have not been taken out of the curriculum as of yet. For Banana Slug News, this is Katie Ryan. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Katie. That's quite the story.
Will UCSC's policies change? In this case, only time will reveal the answer.
On BSN, we only use the phrase, only time will tell. That's lesson number 9, Jake.
You'd think I'd know that one by now. In this week's Digital Roundup, glass. Scientists have created a smart glass that will either absorb or reflect heat. The smart glass knows what to do based off of the outside temperature.
Glass is really not a liquid. Lesson number 10.
Who thinks glass is a liquid?
Lots of people.
Okay, then. Ever thought about getting your play in front of a live audience? Well, now it's easier than ever, thanks to the theater production company Barnstorm. Here with more on this story is Rachel Benish.